Hi, my name is John Fallon. Many of you don't know who I am. I showed up in the paper out of nowhere, it seemed. I'm some sort of outsider because I'm not here. That's not true. Okay? I have lived in Waukegan since 1997. I lived at Grand and Lewis. I'm about 2.5 blocks from the shelter, from the PADS shelter, or the PADS offices, actually. And I love it here in Waukegan. And if I was homeless, or if I didn't have a lot of money, Waukegan is a great place. It's a great place if you have modest amounts of money, as I do. I speak nationally all the time. Tomorrow I'll be in Columbus. 2 weeks ago I was in Chattanooga, spoken in Los Angeles, did a lot of work in Memphis with family projects. I've been involved in housing for quite a while, about 35 years. When people began to misunderstand what was happening at PADS or be concerned or anything, I talked to the mayor. And I said, I've been doing this all over, and I'd like to bring it to my hometown. So that's what I'm here to do today. It's been politicized a lot. There's been a bunch of stuff that have been said on various blogs and other places. I'm not a part of that. I'm interested in bringing evidence-based practices here to Waukegan and expanding. Our current shelter system is the primary way in which we oftentimes have to house people because we don't have other resources. So today is about creating other resources. It's not about shelter. You're going to hear from the mayor. We're going to acknowledge other mayors who are here. The county is here. You can't do this without everyone working together. I spoke at the city council and then we haven't done anything because I have another job. Okay? Today I'm speaking only as me. This is my volunteer gig. Okay? But I have this knowledge and I want to bring it here. And I have friends who I'll bring here. I'm a part of the Waukegan Coalition to Reduce Recidivism. I am a part of NAMI of Lake County and NAMI, Illinois. I've been involved in this stuff for a long time. I would like to see people be housed. It's embarrassing for me when I go to places like Houston and other places that are readily investing in housing with community support, and so I talked again to the mayor. He offered to have us start with what we're calling the Waukegan Homeless Task Force. Mayor, I'm going to go ahead and introduce really quickly. I figure out what I did. We were here at 7 o'clock to get all the stuff fixed. Of course, it didn't work, and we were fixing it at 35 after. Waukegan Homeless Task Force is the name that the mayor gave me, and I said we need to switch it. As we did. So our first piece of technology not working. Great. Oh, I know why I did this. There's another program in front of me. I want to change it to the Waukegan Housing Task Force. This is about moving away from housing, focusing less on people that are homeless and more on housing, which will require some greater community understanding than happens now. It can be scary, but it's taking those folks there. So that's the first thing that I want to do. Second thing is I want to talk about housing. This is a perfectly good affordable housing project. And this is something, I'm going to introduce this and then I'll turn it over, Mayor. This is a very good project. Works well, it's inexpensive. And I just took a picture of it. I don't know anything about it. I just know it's a couple years old. I think about 3 or 4 years old. The project is financed with private money, and so therefore it has a mortgage. And when they reduce the rent, you have two choices. If you want to house someone who doesn't have a lot of money, you can either A, charge less rent, or B, find some way to help people with the rent so that the house can be maintained as it should be. with professional property management. Professional property management is here, but it's difficult because some of the construction techniques used in these kinds of buildings is not of the best quality because it can't. What is much nicer is when you have affordable housing. Affordable housing that's well financed. So I said, this is affordable housing that was something the community hated at first. They were very worried. This is about 22 years old, I think. No, 1997, so that's however many years, 19 years. Still looks perfect, doesn't it? That's affordable housing built with low-income housing tax credit dollars. It has the funding you need to maintain that building. It has a professional property manager as part of its work. It has residents who may have some difficulties, but they have support services around them. They're funded with HUD dollars to maintain people, and this kind of housing helps the community score when going after money for federal money, for federal money. Okay? If you're happy with something, we have something in Chicago, rather than making noise, people raise their hand, like this. Because in the deaf community, this is clapping. Do we agree that this is a pretty good place? That's 20 years old. It's maintained the way it is because there's a 30-year pro forma behind that building. Okay? Here's another project. This is a set of apartments that has a set aside of 20% of people who are formerly homeless. You don't know it's there. It's out on Delaney. It's out amongst a whole bunch of apartments. Right next to it is another large complex. When I took this picture, I was on the way to the mayor, and I told him this story. Someone met me from California. I said that I work for CSH. They said, oh, I know CSH. That's why I'm here. We're putting an offer on the complex right next door to continue the affordability of that complex. Do we agree this is good housing? This is how it's supposed to be made. When you do this, there has to be a public hearing. People get nervous. They hear there might be people who are formerly homeless. The difference is whether they have the services there or not. I helped several housed families in that complex. There's 100 families. There's several of them that were formerly homeless. Waukegan Township provided the support to be able to have them access low-cost housing. Those are people who are formerly homeless. I think one was living in her house, in a car. This is Grays Lake. This is senior housing. It's 100 folks, but it also has people with disabilities in it. Grays Lake was very nervous about what this project would do. What do you think? This was a beautifully well-landscaped building that is an asset to the community. It's one of the prettiest buildings in the block. Under construction now, low-income housing tax credits, Mundelein. You'll hear from Mark Ishog in a little while. This is housing by thresholds. This was a terrible, actually I liked it because of who I was working with. They liked this place as a single room occupancy hotel, but now it's a beautiful set of apartments. City of Chicago helped to acquire the building, and they made it. Thresholds is a national leader, and they're in our community now. I think there's reasons to take advantage of that, along with NACASA and other folks, to be able to develop housing that's got the support. That's going to be my very quick introduction to this issue, and then I'm going to let the mayor talk, and then I'm going to go ahead and show a video that talks about it. Okay? But I hope that you all will enjoy today's presentation. We have a limited time. As you see, there's a lot of people here. So our focus on today is going to be on public officials. Those are the people who have to support this. And we want to have 2 questions available after each speaker, not the mayors, not public officials, but to our larger speakers, 2 questions from the audience and 2 questions from public officials. Okay?